Welcome, travelers of time and myth, to Forgotten Scrolls. Tonight, I invite you to leave behind the day's burdens and immerse yourself in the life of a man who defied his destiny with a bow and an unwavering spirit. If your mind is restless, if the modern world overwhelms you, or if you simply seek a refuge for peaceful rest, this story is for you. Closing your eyes, you will journey to Old England, where the wind whispered through the ancient trees, and the fight for justice forged legends. You will discover Robin Hood, the outlaw who became a beacon of hope, taking from the rich to give to the poor. He was a man who challenged the powerful, not with a crown, but with an arrow of truth. This journey will show you how a spirit of rebellion can bloom in the deepest forest, how loyalty can unite disparate souls, and how courage can restore fairness to a land consumed by tyranny. His story reminds us that true nobility comes not from wealth, but from a heart committed to justice. Through a measured and enveloping narrative, we seek to gently calm your spirit, helping you drift into sleep with the quiet echo of a life lived with profound purpose. This is not merely a tale from the past. It is a timeless guide for those who seek clarity amidst chaos and purpose in the world's incessant noise. So, settle in comfortably, close your eyes if you wish, and allow your imagination to awaken while your body softly relaxes. Accompany us on this journey through sun-dappled glades, whispered secrets, and a brotherhood bound by an unwavering ideal. This is a profound odyssey of courage, unwavering justice, and enduring legacy. Chapter 1. Sherwood's Whispering Heart. In the very heart of Old England stretched the forest of Sherwood, a vast and ancient place where the golden light of the sun barely kissed the ground. The crowns of the towering trees formed a thick, verdant roof, and the winds that sighed through the branches seemed to carry secrets as old as time itself. There was something undeniably magical there, a profound sense that time moved slowly, as if each individual leaf held a story waiting to be told. The forest was not merely a backdrop, it was an attentive character, vibrant, alive, and ever vigilant. The peasants spoke of the forest as if it possessed a will of its own. They whispered that it protected the just and subtly confounded the wicked. Whoever knew its intricate paths walked without fear. But the king's guards and the tax collectors, men with heavy hands and cold, unforgiving hearts, felt a chilling tremor as they ventured into Sherwood. They feared getting lost. They feared the unseen eyes that silently watched them from among the ancient trees. Among those deep shadows, the whisper of a name began to emerge: Robin Hood. For the haughty nobles, he was nothing more than an audacious thief. But for the common people, he was like a beacon of fire in the encroaching darkness, someone who dared to defy the lords of the castle, who seized gold from the rich and returned it to those who most desperately needed it. An outlaw, yes, but one imbued with a sense of justice far purer than any corrupt court. Often, travelers spoke of being accosted by a hooded man with a bow slung across his back and a serene, steady gaze. He would demand what they carried, and if they were wealthy, he would take their full purses. But he never harmed an innocent, never touched what belonged to the simple folk. Some would return home to find food quietly left at their doorstep, coins hidden beneath stones, or messages inscribed with words of unexpected hope. No one knew exactly where he lived. Some claimed there were hidden caves deep within Sherwood, secret passages woven among roots and moss-covered stones. Others believed the forest itself had created him, as if he were an ancient spirit reawakened to correct the grievous errors of men. What was certain was that Robin Hood knew every tree, every winding river, and every hidden path as intimately as the palm of his own hand. And so, amidst the soft whispers of the wind and the rustling songs of the leaves, the legend steadily gained strength. The forest of Sherwood, with its embracing silence, guarded not only the man, but the powerful symbol of a hope that could never be truly chained. In the very heart of the common people, Robin was more than real. He was utterly necessary. Chapter 2. The Young Archer of Loxley. Before he was known as Robin Hood, he was simply Robin of Loxley, the unassuming heir to a small estate nestled amidst forests and rolling hills. The son of a respected lord, he grew up amidst books, familiar with weapons, and spent countless hours wandering the verdant fields of inland England. His father was a just and compassionate man, deeply concerned for those who toiled on his lands, and he diligently taught his son that true nobility sprang from profound compassion, not from mere wealth. Robin soon demonstrated an uncommon skill with the bow. Even as a mere child, he could strike apples placed at great distances with astonishing accuracy. But it was not just his talent that set him apart. He deeply loved the boundless freedom of the open fields, the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind, and the earthy scent of wet soil after the rain. While other young nobles indulged in boisterous hunts and grand tournaments, Robin preferred to quietly listen to the stories of the peasants and learn from the elders of the village. In his youth, he began to acutely notice the cruel disparities between those who possessed much and those who possessed nothing. He witnessed families being mercilessly evicted from their homes for failing to pay unjust taxes. He saw hungry children while carriages laden with gold rolled effortlessly along the roads. His heart rebelled against this injustice, but his social standing still constrained him from acting as he desired. One day, while riding along a dusty path, he saw a soldier brutally strike down an old peasant over an unpaid debt. Robin dismounted his horse without hesitation and intervened with firm resolve, demanding respect. The soldier, taken aback, recoiled before the young man's unexpected courage. It was the first time Robin had confronted authority on behalf of someone weaker, and it would certainly not be the last. The news spread among the villagers like wildfire through dry grass. The young man of Loxley was different from other nobles. He was one of them, someone who listened, who helped, who felt the suffering of others as his own. That simple gesture, an act of spontaneous justice, ignited the spark that would forever change his life. In that moment, unbeknownst to him, Robin began to diverge from the path reserved for nobles. The path he would choose would be darker, more perilous, and more solitary, but it would also be the path of true freedom. And it all began with a bow, a restless heart, and an unwavering desire to do what was right. Chapter 3. The Crown's Cruel Hand. In those tumultuous times, the King of England was far away, preoccupied with wars and affairs in distant lands. Meanwhile, local power rested firmly in the hands of the Sheriff of Nottingham, an ambitious and cruel man who wielded his authority to ruthlessly oppress the common people. Taxes swelled without measure, and justice openly favored only the wealthy. Ordinary folk lived in pervasive poverty, fearing to lose even the little they possessed. The sheriff was widely feared by all. His soldiers relentlessly patrolled the roads and villages, collecting tributes and harshly punishing those who could not pay. Peasants knew that protesting was perilous, and that the law, though ostensibly on the sheriff's side, was written to protect raw power, not true justice. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense, and suffering became a common sight in every corner of the land. Robin, though young, already felt the crushing weight of injustice in his heart. Every story he heard, every tear he witnessed, intensified his burning desire to change things. But directly challenging the sheriff was an act of suicide. So he began to seek alternative paths, more discreet movements, utilizing his cunning and his intimate knowledge of nature to evade soldiers and aid the most desperate. It was during these quiet moments that Robin began to gather his first companions. These were men and women who also suffered under the yoke of tyranny, yet possessed unique skills. Skilled archers, seasoned hunters, even former soldiers weary of injustice. Together they formed a small secret community within Sherwood, a group determined to fight with both intelligence and courage for true freedom. Each night, under the soft light of the moon, they meticulously planned raids to recover what had been stolen by the powerful and return it to the common people. Their actions were neither chaotic nor senselessly violent. They sought justice with honor, meticulously avoiding harm to innocents and always protecting those who placed their trust in them. Slowly, their reputation grew, and more people began to believe that change was indeed possible. Thus, The shadow of Robin Hood extended across Nottingham and its surrounding areas. Their struggle was silent, yet persistent, a whisper that transformed into a powerful cry in the hearts of the oppressed. The forest of Sherwood transformed into a refuge of hope, where justice was not a distant dream, but a burgeoning reality. Chapter 4. The Bridge and the Bond. One tranquil afternoon, as Robin walked along a seldom-used path in Sherwood, he heard the faint rustle of branches in the distance. His instinct immediately alerted him, and he swiftly concealed himself among the trees, observing with careful precision. Suddenly, a tall, powerfully built man appeared, with a wide, friendly smile and a challenging glint in his eyes. It was Little John, a man whose immense strength and remarkable skill were already legendary throughout the surrounding lands. The encounter between Robin and Little John was not an immediate friendship. In fact, it began with a friendly duel on a narrow bridge spanning a babbling brook. Local tradition dictated that whoever fell into the water must concede defeat. The struggle was long, filled with shared laughter and immense effort, until both men tumbled into the cold water, laughing together and acknowledging each other's strength. It was a moment of profound respect and burgeoning camaraderie. From that day forward, Little John joined Robin and his noble cause, drawn not only by his physical prowess, but by the inherent goodness and unwavering loyalty Robin displayed. Together, they began to organize their actions with greater efficiency, seamlessly blending cunning with raw power. Little John's presence instilled confidence and courage in everyone, for his very name inspired trust even in the most perilous situations. In addition to his formidable strength, Little John knew every corner of the forest like the back of his hand. His life stories, filled with adventures and personal struggles, enriched the group and fortified their shared purpose. Slowly, others began to arrive. A mischievous trickster, a wise healer, and more, forming a true brotherhood of brave hearts. Robin and his companions transformed into legends, not only for their daring actions, but for the noble way they defended the weak and deeply respected the very nature that protected them. In every step, in every arrow loosed, one could feel the pulse of a dream, that one day, justice would embrace all. Thus, within Sherwood, beneath the verdant canopy of ancient trees, the story of Robin Hood and his steadfast friends began to weave itself with powerful threads of strength and enduring hope. Chapter 5. Maid Marian. Light in the Shadows. In a small village near Sherwood lived Marian, a woman of serene beauty and an indomitable spirit. From childhood, she had learned to read and to understand the world far beyond the village walls. Her heart beat fiercely for justice and freedom, and she dreamed of a future where fear did not rule. The nobility of her soul made her stand out among the people, and her gaze held the tenderness of one who knows how to love, and the courage of one who knows how to fight. Marian and Robin met by chance in a bustling market, where their gazes crossed amidst the clamor and colors of everyday life. In that instant, there was a profound connection, as if their souls recognized each other. With time, that spark grew into a sincere friendship, and then into a love neither had imagined. It was a love filled with deep respect and understanding, strengthened by their shared ideals. She understood Robin's struggle and supported his every act of justice, even though she knew that a life together was impossible as long as the Sheriff of Nottingham ruled with an iron fist. Marian guarded her feelings carefully, knowing that her position and her circumstances could endanger all that they cherished. However, her heart always found a way to remain close through small gestures and whispered words. Beyond her love, Marian was an invaluable ally to Robin. With her intelligence and cunning, she helped plan the group's actions and gather information among the nobility and the common folk. Her bravery led her to take risks in the shadows, always striving to protect those who suffered and to keep hope alive. She was a light in the darkness, a beacon that guided Robin in difficult moments. Marian also understood that their love was a symbol, a force that inspired everyone in Sherwood. For this reason, even from a distance, she held steadfast to the hope that one day they could live without fear, in a world where justice embraced all, regardless of position or fortune. That shared dream fueled their struggle and gave them strength to persevere. Thus, the love of Robin and Marian was not merely a story of two souls, but the very beating heart of a greater cause. Amidst the forest and the pervasive tyranny, their bond transformed into a refuge, a powerful reminder that even in dark times, love and justice can flourish with immense strength and profound beauty. Chapter 6. The First Bold Stroke. With the brotherhood steadily growing and love powerfully strengthening them, Robin and his companions decided to take a more audacious step. The time had arrived to strike a significant blow against the Sheriff of Nottingham, an action that would clearly demonstrate to the people that they were not alone and that justice could indeed carve its own path. They meticulously planned an attack to recover a large shipment of taxes that the sheriff had unjustly confiscated from the peasants. The chosen night was dark and silent, perfect for the archers and forest walkers of Sherwood to move undetected. Each member of the group knew their precise role. Some would distract the soldiers, others would be responsible for opening the chests and distributing the bounty. Coordination was fundamental, for success depended on precision and speed, meticulously avoiding unnecessary bloodshed. The shipment was guarded by armed soldiers, but Robin's cunning and Little John's strength ensured that the defense was overcome without serious confrontation. They employed traps, deceptions, and secret routes, demonstrating that intelligence could be more powerful than brute violence. The chests, overflowing with coins and provisions, were liberated and swiftly distributed among the families who waited in secret. When news of the raid spread through the villages, joy mingled with newfound hope. For the first time, many saw that they were not abandoned to their fate, and that someone was fighting for them. The name of Robin Hood began to resonate with profound respect and admiration, not merely as a thief, but as a true protector of the oppressed people. However, this act also ignited the fierce wrath of the sheriff, who swore to capture Robin and crush his group. The persecution intensified, and life in Sherwood grew even more perilous. But Robin and his companions knew that risk was an inherent part of their path, and that every sacrifice brought them a little closer to justice. Thus, the first bold stroke marked a profound turning point. It was the spark that ignited silent rebellion in the hearts of those living under tyranny, and the powerful promise that the struggle had only just begun. Chapter 7. Friar Tuck, thy Sage of Sherwood. In the heart of Sherwood Forest, one found not only archers and hunters, but also unexpected figures who contributed their unique wisdom and profound kindness. One such figure was Friar Tuck, a monk of robust appearance and an easy smile, renowned for his love of food, drink, and above all for his immensely generous heart. Despite his monastic life, Friar Tuck felt a deep disquiet witnessing the pervasive injustice that reigned in the lands. When he met Robin Hood, he discovered a newfound purpose for his faith and his very life. He joined the band not merely as a spiritual guide, but also as a wise counselor and a steadfast friend. His presence brought a calming influence amidst the danger, and he consistently reminded everyone that justice must always be accompanied by mercy and profound humanity. Furthermore, his intimate knowledge of the forest and its hidden secrets helped the Brotherhood avoid traps and ambushes. Friar Tuck was famous for his speeches, brimming with humor and wisdom, which lifted the spirits of the group even on the coldest nights. His voice transmitted hope and strength, gently reminding them that they fought not only against men, but against the insidious injustice that corrupted the very land. His faith was silent, yet immensely powerful, an unwavering anchor for all who shared the perilous path. Beyond his spiritual role, Friar Tuck possessed a unique ability to mediate conflicts and strengthen the group's unity. He knew how to listen intently and offer counsel without judgment, serving as a steadfast pillar in moments of doubt or fear. His infectious joy and innate kindness made everyone feel like family, bound by a common, noble purpose. As time passed, his fame spread as widely as Robin Hood's own. The common people trusted that Friar Tuck cared not only for their bodies, but for their very souls. He was a living symbol that in the struggle for justice, there is always room for profound compassion and enduring love. Thus, Friar Tuck became a fundamental member of the legend, forever reminding all that true strength springs from the heart and that faith can illuminate even the darkest paths. Chapter 8. Nottingham's Iron Citadel. Nottingham Castle loomed majestically upon a hill, dominating the city and the winding roads that led into Sherwood. It stood as a stark symbol of the sheriff's power and absolute authority, an impenetrable fortress to many, but not to Robin Hood and his unwavering band. For them, the castle represented the very essence of the oppression and injustice they were sworn to confront, and for this reason, they meticulously planned an audacious and strategic assault. The fortress was protected by towering walls, deep, foreboding moats, and well-trained guards. However, Robin and his companions, with their intimate knowledge of the terrain and their honed skills, managed to discern subtle weak points and discover secret routes unknown to the soldiers. Their objective was not to destroy the castle, but to send a clear, undeniable message that justice could not be silenced. With stealth and precision, the band of Sherwood penetrated the shadows of the night. They utilized bows, cleverly set traps, and their sheer courage to advance without triggering alarms, liberating prisoners and recovering provisions that had been unjustly confiscated. Every step was carefully calculated to minimize harm and avoid direct confrontations, demonstrating that cunning could indeed overcome even the most formidable power. The operation was a resounding success, and the news spread rapidly. The people celebrated not only Robin Hood's bravery, but the renewed hope that the castle, a grim symbol of tyranny, could indeed be defied. For the sheriff, however, it was a profound humiliation that intensified his fury and his burning desire to crush the rebellion. But Robin and his companions were prepared to resist. They knew that every victory brought new challenges and that the struggle for freedom would be long and arduous. Nottingham Castle remained a formidable obstacle, but also a constant, powerful reminder of why they fought. Thus, the castle transformed into a battlefield not only of physical might, but of ideas and values, where hope and justice clashed against pervasive fear and oppression. Chapter 9. Will Scarlet, the Fiery Spirit. Among Robin Hood's earliest and most devoted followers, Will Scarlet stood out for his restless spirit and his exceptional prowess in combat. He was young, swift, and audacious, with a mischievous smile that cleverly concealed a noble heart. From childhood, he had keenly felt the sting of injustice upon his own skin, and his innate rebelliousness compelled him to seek out and join a cause that championed the weakest. Will infused the group with vibrant energy and passionate zeal, constantly encouraging his companions with his boundless enthusiasm and his fierce bravery on the battlefield. His remarkable skill with the sword and his lightning-fast ability to think in difficult situations made him an indispensable ally. Yet, he also knew when to strategically withdraw and when to meticulously plan, demonstrating that intelligence was just as crucial as raw force. Despite his youth, Will deeply understood the profound nature of Robin Hood's struggle and fully shared the vision of a more just world. His relationship with Robin was one of mutual trust and sincere camaraderie, punctuated by lighthearted jokes that eased the tension of long days in the forest. Together, they formed a cohesive team where each contributed their very best. Will Scarlet also possessed a deeply human and sensitive side, which he revealed through his compassionate care for others and in his quiet moments of reflection beside the campfire. He understood that violence was not the ultimate end, but a necessary means to achieve justice. His free spirit served as a beacon of hope for those who felt voiceless. With the passage of time, Will transformed into a powerful symbol of youth and rebellion within the Brotherhood, reminding everyone that the fight for freedom also required joy and passionate commitment. His vibrant presence imbued the cause with strength and renewed energy in every mission. Thus, Will Scarlet was not merely a warrior. He was a vibrant soul who enriched the legend of Robin Hood with his inner fire and his unwavering dedication. Chapter 10. The game of deception. In I. Their relentless fight against tyranny. Not everything was brute force. Robin Hood keenly understood that cunning and deception were powerful weapons to unbalance his enemies. For this reason, he devised a meticulous plan to confound the sheriff and his soldiers, employing disguises, circulating false messages, and setting clever tricks that would cause his pursuers to become lost in their own traps. One of the most successful strategies was the creation of Robin Hood doubles. Men from the side group would dress like him, walk along different paths, and perform actions that effectively distracted the sheriff's forces. This not only confused the enemies, but also protected Robin, allowing him to move with greater freedom and security. Furthermore, they used coded messages and subtle signals within the forest to coordinate attacks and avoid ambushes. Precise communication was vital, and the Brotherhood developed a secret language that only they understood. This intelligence allowed them to anticipate enemy movements and maintain a crucial advantage. Disguises and playful antics also served to win the people's sympathy. On some occasions, Robin would appear in disguise at markets and festivals, mingling among the crowd to hear their needs and strengthen his connection with those who supported his cause. This closeness ensured the legend grew, not merely of a hero, but of a man of the people. The game of deception was a harsh lesson for the sheriff, who could no longer trust his own intelligence or his soldiers. Every misstep increased his frustration and weakened his power, while Robin and his companions continued to advance with intelligence and courage. Thus, the struggle was waged not only with arrows and swords, but also with astute minds and resolute hearts, demonstrating that justice can triumph through ingenuity and creativity. Chapter 11. Much the Miller's Loyalty. Much the Miller was a burly and strong man, renowned for his kind character and his unwavering faithfulness. From the moment he joined Robin Hood's band, he became one of its most fierce and devoted defenders, always ready to protect his friends and the oppressed common folk. His name, Much, reflected his formidable appearance, but in truth, his heart was profoundly kind and noble. Much the Miller hailed from a humble family and had personally suffered the injustices imposed by the rich and powerful. This experience instilled in him a deep sense of justice and an unshakable commitment to Robin Hood's cause. His loyalty was not limited to the fight itself, but also encompassed caring for the group members and organizing daily tasks within the depths of the forest. He was a formidable warrior, capable of facing multiple enemies simultaneously with immense strength and honed skill. However, he also possessed a tender side, which he revealed through his gentle care for the wounded and his constant emotional support for his companions. His very presence was a source of profound security for everyone. Much the Miller also took it upon himself to motivate new recruits, teaching them the paramount importance of brotherhood and unwavering commitment to justice. His stories about life before Sherwood and the injustices he had witnessed deeply inspired those who listened, fostering a strong sense of unity and shared purpose within the group. His relationship with Robin Hood was one of mutual respect and sincere friendship. He knew that every battle was a step towards a better world, and that his strength was an essential part of that journey. Together, they faced the dangers of the forest and the constant threat of the sheriff. Thus, Much the Miller represented the quiet strength and unwavering loyalty that underpin any just cause, reminding everyone that true fortitude springs from the heart and from an unyielding commitment to others. Chapter 12. The Thorn of Betrayal. In every story of valiant struggle and enduring hope, there also lurk shadows that threaten to shatter unity. Robin Hood's band was no exception. One of its closest members found himself tempted by greed and fear, thereby imperiling everything they had so painstakingly built. This profound betrayal shook the very foundations of the Brotherhood and put everyone on high alert. The traitor was someone who had shared moments of deep camaraderie and fierce battles, someone in whom they had placed absolute trust. However, the relentless pressure from the sheriff and the insidious promise of riches caused his heart to waver. He began to discreetly pass secret information, jeopardizing the group's carefully laid plans and its very safety. When the betrayal was finally discovered, the immediate reaction was one of profound pain and crushing disappointment. Robin Hood understood that he could not afford distractions or internal distrust, but he also recognized that the fight for justice demanded forgiveness and profound wisdom. The decision on how to handle the traitor was difficult and incredibly delicate. The group gathered to strengthen their bonds and renew their unwavering commitment. Despite the devastating blow, they recognized that true strength lay in unity and mutual trust. They learned that even in the darkest moments, loyalty and love could ultimately prevail. Robin faced the betrayal not only with firmness, but also with compassion, remembering that all could stumble, but that redemption was always possible. This experience ultimately made the brotherhood grow stronger and more united. Thus, the betrayal transformed into a valuable lesson for all, demonstrating that the fight for justice is also a path of profound learning and forgiveness. Chapter 13. Romance in the Wildwood. Amidst the constant struggle and daily challenges, the human heart invariably seeks love and companionship. Robin Hood was no exception. Deep within the enchanting forest of Sherwood, he found Marian, a woman of courageous spirit, keen intelligence, and boundless freedom, whose very presence illuminated his life and profoundly strengthened his noble cause. Marian was not merely a noble lady, she was a steadfast ally, deeply committed to justice and unwavering equality. Her innate ability to move seamlessly between the worlds of the nobility and the common folk allowed her to gather invaluable information for Robin and his band. Furthermore, her bravery in defying established norms made her a companion truly worthy of profound admiration. Their relationship blossomed in secret, enveloped by the tranquility of the ancient forest and the urgency of their shared struggle. They cherished moments of quiet peace and burgeoning hope, where they could dream of a better future, far removed from oppression and pervasive fear. This powerful love became a vital refuge for them both in those turbulent times. Marian also actively participated in their perilous missions, demonstrating that her courage extended far beyond the confines of her heart. Her intelligence and remarkable skill contributed to several of the Brotherhood's successes, earning her the deep respect of everyone. She was a radiant light in the encroaching darkness, a guiding beacon that steered Robin through his most difficult moments. Marian also understood that their love was a profound symbol, a force that inspired everyone in Sherwood. For this reason, even from a distance, she held steadfast to the unwavering hope that one day they could live without fear, in a world where justice embraced all, regardless of their position or fortune. That shared dream fueled their relentless struggle and gave them the unwavering strength to persevere. Thus, the love of Robin and Marian was not merely a story of two souls. It was the very pulsating heart of a greater, more profound cause. Amidst the ancient forest and the pervasive tyranny, their bond transformed into a sacred refuge, a timeless reminder that even in the darkest of times, love and justice can powerfully flourish with immense strength and profound beauty. Chapter 14. The Castle's Enduring Siege. The Sheriff of Nottingham, enraged by his constant defeats and profound humiliations, resolved to organize a massive siege of Sherwood Forest, determined to finally crush Robin Hood's band once and for all. He assembled his finest soldiers and meticulously planned to encircle the forest, cutting off all supplies and trapping the rebels. The siege was arduous and prolonged. Robin's band resisted with unwavering courage, utilizing their intimate knowledge of the terrain to avoid direct confrontations whenever possible. However, the relentless harassment steadily depleted their resources and severely tested their physical and moral endurance. Robin and his companions organized ambushes and surprise attacks to break the encirclement and allow the forest folk to receive vital aid and provisions. Every movement was meticulously calculated, seeking to keep hope vibrantly alive amidst the pervasive danger. Nights in Sherwood were filled with tension, yet also with profound solidarity. The Brotherhood and the united villagers displayed admirable resistance, remembering that they fought for a future where justice and freedom would belong to all. Despite the formidable difficulties, morale did not wane. Robin Hood knew that their struggle was far greater than any physical hardship and that their cause was just. The strength of the forest was also the strength of their collective spirit. Ultimately, the siege transformed into a crucible that further unified the Brotherhood and confirmed that freedom and justice were values worth fighting for until their very last breath. Chapter 15. The Sheriff's Cunning Trap. Frustrated by the utter failure of his siege, the Sheriff of Nottingham decided to change his strategy. Instead of directly attacking, he devised a subtle trap disguised as a golden opportunity. He spread rumors that a nobleman sympathetic to Robin Hood's cause wished to deliver riches to the common people, hoping to lure the band into a devastating ambush. The news swiftly reached the forest, immediately sowing distrust among the Brotherhood members. Robin, though cautious, decided to personally investigate, accompanied by Will Scarlet and Much the Miller. They knew the risk was high, but also that genuine aid could irrevocably change the course of their struggle. Upon arriving at the agreed location, the nearby woods were eerily silent. Robin noticed strange signs, erased footprints, broken branches in unusual places. His instinct told him something was profoundly amiss. However, before they could retreat, a volley of arrows rained down upon them. An intense pursuit erupted through the trees. Will and Much fought fiercely, covering Robin's retreat. Thanks to their intimate knowledge of the terrain, they managed to escape via an ancient secret route, though not without wounds and profound exhaustion. Back in Sherwood, the band reflected on the peril of trusting even the slightest promise from their enemy. Robin reaffirmed that prudence must always accompany hope. The sheriff had revealed the depths to which he was willing to stoop to destroy them. The failed trap ultimately strengthened the group's unity. From then on, their strategies became even more meticulous, and their distrust of enemies transformed into constant, unwavering vigilance. Chapter 16. The People's Awakening. While Robin Hood and his valiant band bravely resisted in the depths of the forest, something profound began to stir and change among the inhabitants of the nearby villages. Inspired by the outlaw's courageous actions, many peasants, diligent artisans, and even some weary soldiers began to raise their voices against the pervasive abuses of power. The stories of Robin, passed down by word of mouth, transformed into living legends. Songs and verses passionately narrated his heroic feats, and his name was whispered with deep respect in every public square and bustling market. He was more than a man. He had become a potent symbol of unwavering hope for the oppressed. The wealthy, fearful of the growing popular sympathy, pressured the sheriff to act with greater severity. But this only intensified the people's indignation. The justice that Robin so fiercely championed began to evolve into a collective yearning, a force that could no longer be contained. Some villagers offered themselves as informants and protectors, discreetly hiding band members or assisting with vital supplies. The network of support silently expanded, making it increasingly difficult for the authorities to control the volatile situation. Sherwood was no longer merely a forest. It was a potent symbol of national resistance. Robin understood that his struggle had transcended the bow and the sword. Now, they fought for a greater cause, for a people who were finally awakening. This realization filled him with renewed energy to continue forward, knowing they were not alone on the arduous path to freedom. Thus, the voice of the people began to resonate louder than that of power, and in that voice, Robin Hood found his greatest strength. Chapter 17. The King's Return. In the deepest heart of the conflicts that plagued England, a momentous piece of news began to circulate with growing force. King Richard the Lionheart, who had been absent on the Crusades, was finally returning to the realm. His arrival promised to change the very course of events, and hope once more brightly shone in the hearts of the oppressed. Robin Hood had always been a loyal servant of the legitimate king. His struggle was not against the monarchy itself, but against those who, like Prince John and the Sheriff of Nottingham, abused power in the sovereign's absence. Upon learning of the king's return, Robin saw a profound opportunity to restore order and justice. The people also received the news with fervent enthusiasm. It was said that Richard was a just and brave king, and many believed he would put an end to the nobles' abuses. Tension mounted, while the powerful feared losing the privileges they had accumulated in his absence. When the king finally arrived in Nottingham, he found a divided region with a desperate populace and an authority stained by pervasive corruption. Rumors of a noble outlaw who robbed from the rich to give to the poor had reached his ears, sparking both curiosity and respect. It was then that Robin decided to take a brave step. He presented himself before the king not as a rebel, but as a loyal subject who had defended the people in his name. He spoke of the abuses committed and of the struggle they had waged in Sherwood Forest. The king, deeply moved by Robin's honesty and courage, promised to listen to the people and restore justice to his kingdom. That day, Robin Hood ceased to be a mere outlaw and became a hero formally recognized by the crown. Chapter 18. Justice for Nottingham. With the king's authority firmly re-established, trials and investigations began in Nottingham. The evidence against the sheriff and Prince John's allies was overwhelming. The common people, for the first time in a very long while, witnessed that justice could indeed reach even the most powerful. The sheriff was arrested and brought to trial, confronting the testimonies of those he had mercilessly oppressed. Robin's band provided crucial evidence and detailed accounts of their crimes. The castle, which had once stood as a grim symbol of fear, transformed into the very stage where equilibrium was finally restored. Richard ordered the return of stolen lands, the liberation of unjustly imprisoned individuals, and a complete review of all taxes. The corrupt nobility was punished, and in their stead, new leaders, deeply committed to the people's welfare, were appointed. Robin Hood and his companions were formally pardoned and publicly honored. Many of them chose to retire to a quiet life, yet carrying with them the profound pride of having fought for a noble cause. Sherwood Forest, a silent witness to so many battles, once again became a place of peace. The people began to live with renewed dignity, freed from the crushing weight of constant injustice. Children grew up listening to the stories of the brave archer who defied the powerful with honor and a compassionate heart. The flame of hope, ignited in the darkest of days, continued to burn brightly. Thus, Nottingham was reborn as a powerful symbol of restored justice, thanks to the unwavering courage of a man who never ceased to believe in the profound power of good. Chapter 19. The Legacy of the Free. With peace finally restored and justice reigning in Nottingham, Robin Hood could at last retire from the constant, arduous combat. Although his heart remained steadfast in the cause, he knew that the moment had arrived to allow new voices to emerge. His struggle no longer demanded the bow. Instead, it lived on in memory and through his powerful example. The band gradually dispersed. Some members returned to their families. Others settled in small communities where they continued to aid those in need. But all carried within their hearts the fire of Sherwood, and in their eyes, the vivid remembrance of the days when they defied the world for what was truly right. Robin, alongside Marian, retired to a simple life on the fringes of the forest. There they lived far from the bustling world, though never truly isolated from the common folk. Peasants often visited them, bringing news, expressions of gratitude, and children eager to meet the legendary archer from the old stories. Marian, always strong and loving, was the steadfast pillar of those tranquil days. Together they cared for the forest and the community, serving as silent guardians of a past that continued to inspire. They never sought wealth or power, only the profound peace they had so tirelessly helped to build. Stories of Robin began to be recounted in every corner of the realm. They transformed into songs, into lyrical poems, and into captivating tales that bards shared in every village. Though the years passed, his name remained vibrantly alive, not because of the battles he won, but because of the countless hearts he touched. The legacy of Robin Hood was far more than a mere legend. It was a potent seed planted deep within the consciousness of the people, an eternal teaching that courage, justice, and compassion always find their way, even in the darkest of times. Chapter 20. The Final Arrow. The years passed with serene grace. Robin aged, surrounded by profound respect and enduring love. His body was no longer as agile as it once was, but his mind remained sharp, and his spirit stood firm as an ancient oak. Sherwood Forest, witness to so many stories, seemed to watch over him, as if it too knew that his time was gently drawing to a close. One autumn morning, with the air crisp and golden leaves gently falling, Robin felt that his journey was complete. He bid Marian a tender farewell and walked to the clearing where he had loosed his very first arrow. There, with steady hands and a serene gaze, he prepared his bow one last time. With solemn reverence, he loosed an arrow deep into the heart of the forest. It was his way of saying goodbye, of leaving a final sign to the world that his spirit would continue to live among the trees, along the winding paths, and in every corner where someone fought for what was just. It was his last arrow, yet also his most symbolic. Marian, along with his closest friends, found that sacred place, and there built a small sanctuary of stone and wood. There was no gold, no elaborate sculptures, only profound silence, the embracing presence of nature, and immense respect for the man who had been a beacon in difficult times. With the passage of time, that site became sacred to all who believed in freedom. Travelers left flowers, small bows, and handwritten messages. No one ever forgot that there, among the ancient trees, a man had lived who defied power and dedicated his life for others. Thus ended the story of Robin Hood, not with a tragic or glorious climax, but with the quiet calm of duty fulfilled. His life was an arrow aimed at justice, and its echo will continue to fly as long as there are those who believe that a single individual can change the destiny of many. Chapter Extra 1. Did Robin Hood truly exist? For centuries, historians, writers, and curious minds have pondered whether Robin Hood was a real historical figure or merely a legendary character. The truth is that while there is no conclusive proof of his singular existence, numerous ancient records mention similar names and activities akin to those attributed to the famous outlaw. Some legal documents from the 11th century refer to men named Rob Hod or Robin Hood, usually as nicknames for criminals or rebels. This has led to the theory that Robin Hood might have been a generic term used to designate individuals who challenged authority, especially during times of oppression. Another curious detail is that different regions of England claim to be Robin's place of origin. While Nottingham and Sherwood Forest are the most frequently mentioned, some argue he was born in Yorkshire or even operated around Barnesdale. The figure of Robin Hood has also evolved over time. In the earliest medieval ballads, he was a more violent and vengeful character, quite distinct from the noble defender of the poor we know today. It was during the Renaissance that his image softened, and Lady Marian was introduced as his romantic interest. Over the centuries, different versions of Robin Hood have portrayed him as a crusader, a noble fallen from grace, a brave peasant, or even a member of King Richard's court. This narrative flexibility has allowed the legend to evolve and remain relevant across generations. Although it cannot be stated with certainty that Robin Hood existed as a single real person, it is undeniable that his figure represents a very powerful human ideal: the desire for justice, unwavering courage in the face of tyranny, and the enduring hope that even the most humble individual can make a significant difference. Chapter Extra 2. The Enduring Cultural Footprint. The story of Robin Hood has been recounted and reinterpreted countless times, from medieval songs to modern films. His cultural impact is so profound that he has become one of the most universal myths in Western civilization. In literature, Robin Hood has inspired everything from anonymous ballads to plays by authors like William Shakespeare. Children's books, historical novels, and young adult adaptations have kept his figure alive, adapting him to each era without losing his essence. In cinema, Robin has been portrayed by famous actors such as Errol Flynn, Kevin Costner, Russell Crowe, and even animated animals in children's versions. Each adaptation has offered a new perspective, from the most romantic to the most realistic and gritty. Beyond mere entertainment, the figure of Robin Hood has influenced social and political movements. His struggle against injustice has been adopted as a symbol by groups advocating for equality, civil resistance, and wealth redistribution. Even in everyday language, expressions like robbing from the rich to give to the poor are used as a direct reference to his legacy. His name has been adopted by charities, businesses, and even alternative financial systems, always linked to the idea of helping those most in need. Robin Hood, whether real or not, remains an eternal voice against the abuse of power. His story not only entertains, but also inspires, reminding us that justice and courage never go out of style.